Inside Politics, weekdays 5 Eastern on CNN.
Tonight, election eve, and the 2000 presidential race is still too close to call. Joining us, a prime political panel. In St. Paul, Minnesota's one-of-a-kind Governor Jesse Ventura. Here in Washington, Congressman John Kasich, Republican of Ohio, who's leaving Congress after 9 terms. In New York, the former 3-time Democratic governor of the Empire State, Mario Cuomo. Back in D.C., Republican Alan Simpson, former senator from Wyoming, one of the wittiest men ever to serve on Capitol Hill. Plus, Democrat John Glenn, former senator from Ohio, 2-time man in space. They're all next on Larry King Live. We have an outstanding panel. We'll be including phone calls. We'll begin with Governor Jesse Ventura in St. Paul, Minnesota. His new book, by the way, is Do I Stand Alone? Going to the Mat Against Political Pawns and Media Jackals. It's a terrific read, no matter what side of the political fence you are on. Governor Ventura, what's going to happen in Minnesota tomorrow?
Well, Larry, that's one thing great about the state of Minnesota. You never know what's going to happen in Minnesota because bear this in mind. 2 years ago when I ran for governor, there wasn't one poll in Minnesota that had me winning. And lo and behold, I did win. So, and also if you look at Minnesota, we've elected to the Senate Rod Grams, Senator Grams, who's as far right as you can possibly get, and Senator Wellstone, who's as far left as you can possibly get. So as far as Minnesota voters go, you never know until about midnight tomorrow night.
Senator Glenn, Ohio, tomorrow.
Oh, Ohio, all the polling indicates that Gore is going to have a tough time in Ohio tomorrow. It could come back. I think that a lot of these undecided voters, I think when they finally want to vote their pocketbook, as Tip O'Neill used to say a long time ago, I think they're more likely to break toward Gore. So I think that's an edge he has going into this at the last part of it. But it's very, very tight, and I just hope everyone gets out and votes tomorrow. That's the main thing.
Governor Cuomo, is New York open and shut?
The great enlightened state of New York will be for Al Gore big time.
And what about the other big race there?
Hillary Clinton. If Al Gore wins by 10 points, then it's a lock for Hillary. And he'll win by more than 10, yeah.
Congressman Kasich, do you agree with Senator Glenn?
Well, I think Bush has been ahead in Ohio the whole time, and it's kind of funny. I don't know how Senator Glenn feels about this, but the Democrats have had their days in Ohio where they dominated. Glenn and Metzenbaum, the governor. It's been funny. Over time, it's swung the other way, and now the Republican Party dominates in Ohio, and it's trending Republican. But, you know, we're up today, and guess what? They probably come back, and they're up tomorrow. But I think tomorrow will be George Bush's day.
Funny game you guys are in. Yeah. Senator Simpson, I guess Wyoming is a lock, right?
We have 3 electoral votes. The power we have in Wyoming is extraordinary. And Cheney's going to carry the day in Wyoming.
But you're also from Massachusetts. You were at Harvard.
Yes,
Massachusetts
I was at Harvard.
Gore
You don't have
right?
to worry about Massachusetts. I mean, there's only one Republican left in office.
They counted those votes a week
ago.
It's the same question for all of you. We'll start this go-round with Governor Ventura. Why is this race so close?
Well, I think it's close because, first of all, you've only got basically 2 choices to choose from. Nader will be a factor in Minnesota, though I think that Ralph Nader will probably get 10% or better in the state of Minnesota because we are the mecca of the third-party movement. We're very progressive in Minnesota. And as I traveled around the state, I saw a tremendous amount of Nader support in Minnesota. He drew 12 or 13,000 people to the Target Center for a rally there. If you go to college campuses, he's running very strong there, so it depends how many of those get out to vote. But will that have an affect the election? Probably not, because most of the people that vote for Nader probably wouldn't vote otherwise. So I think it's close because you're only given the choice of Pepsi and Coke.
Senator Glenn, why is it close? I mean, why aren't your people way ahead? You got a healthy economy, you got no war.
That's, you know, I think they hit the wrong things early in the campaign. I think the issue all through this campaign should not have been Medicare and health care and all the rest of these things, as much as how do we keep the economy going? We've had the best economic run we've ever had in this country, and I thought the big debate this time would be how do we keep it going? And Al Gore, as an incumbent to me, had a big advantage in that particular area with the lowest inflation, lowest unemployment. Well, I think he should have emphasized the economy a lot later on. They've been doing it the last few days. But I think we'd gotten on that a lot sooner. The rest, you know, you can't give a big tax cut and all this kind of stuff if there isn't any trillion-dollar surplus out there to begin with. And the way you get that is to keep the economy going. Yet everybody else has been assuming this big surplus out there, and it may be there, it may not be there.
Senator Simpson, why is it close?
Well, I think there just were gaffes. I think the debates, I think that everybody in America thought that Al Gore would just tee old George Bush up and just blast him clear across the sea, and that the expectations were high. The first debate, Al Gore now says that he was too hot. The second one, he said he was too cold. But the third one, he was just right. He said, like Goldilocks. And
So you think the debates helped Bush a great deal?
I do indeed.
Mario, why is it close?
I think Senator Glenn is exactly right. I think the big issue was the economy. I said earlier this evening on another show, Larry, that they criticize Al Gore for not mentioning Bill Clinton. But I think more notable is the fact that George Bush never mentioned his father. And the reason for that is, if he mentions his father, he has to talk about the Reagan-Bush years, 12 years, in which they did what he says he's going to do, a huge tax cut. His father called that economic voodoo. He said, you know, this magic of supply side, the big tax cut's going to energize the economy, and you're going to get your money back and more, doesn't work. His father was right.
All right, the question is, why is it so close? Why didn't Gore call it
Gore
voodoo?
Gore did not make enough of that issue. In separating himself from Clinton because he was concerned about the Lewinsky mess, he separated himself from the good as well as the bad. He should have made a distinction. You know, his personal life is his, and the American people are marking him low in the polls because of it. His work in making this economy great, I was there with him. I pushed him with Bob Rubin on deficit reduction. I was a leader, and there the American people are giving him over 62%, and I deserve a part of that.
John Kasich, why is it close?
Larry, for some reason, I mean, I think they're both good candidates to each other's partisans, and for whatever reason, this election has been one where the partisans have lined up. The Republicans are, I think, frankly, a little more energized than the Democrats. I was in New Jersey today. Frankly, I've been all over the country, and I have been amazed at the energy behind Republicans. Democrats starting to come home, which is what's made it closer, but the partisans have been the dominant feature of this election, and the fight's been over those who are the independents. And Jesse may speak for these independents who sometimes wonder if there's enough difference between the two parties. And I think...
Be told then that we don't know who's going to win tomorrow. Do we? Do we know? We don't know.
I do. I've been all over the United States.
You know who's going to win.
Yes, I do, and it will be George Bush that he's going to win because of the tremendous zeal. And the real feeling is they don't care about the issues, they don't care about the economy, they don't care about guns and abortion. They care about the zeal of getting rid of the era of Clinton-Gore, and it's real and it's out there, and Gore just happens to have the
Gore has
anchor
made
around his
people
neck.
happy in many senses.
Well, there are a lot of things.
Prosperity.
There are a lot of people out there who feel that these two have soiled the system and
Gore
soiled the White House. Yes, that he's tied to him.
Well, we'll have Senator Glenn respond. We'll be back. They're our guests. Ventura, Kasich, Cuomo, Simpson, and Glenn. Sounds like a law firm in Philadelphia. We'll be right back.
There's one day that's set aside in our Constitution that comes around every 4 years. A day when the people have the power to overrule all the special interests. That day is tomorrow. I need your help. I need your vote.
I can't take it anymore. I need a break from the fans and the paparazzi. I'm going to Priceline.com and planning the ultimate vacation. Top shelf airline tickets, classy rental car, swanky hotel room. And then when this gig is over, I'm gone, baby. I'm gone.
Try revolutionary Smart Balance Buttery Spread. A great taste without the bad stuff that's in butter or regular margarine. The Smart Balance blend is patented to help improve the ratio of good to bad cholesterol.
Now that tastes like real butter.
want to start a family?
Right now?
I just got supplemental insurance.
What's that?
Aflac. Well, if we get sick, our health insurance won't cover things like lost pay or other expenses. This does.
What's it called?
Aflac! I don't know.
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
My personal shopper, the latest online shopping tool, only from LandsEnd.com.
Welcome back to Larry King Live, Election 2000. It's our 54th presidential election. The winner will be the nation's 43rd president. It's the first election where both candidates were born after World War II. Senator Glenn, you wanted to say something in response to
I did.
Senator
I think,
Simpson's zeal pitch.
Alan says he's sure that Bush is going to win because the people just want to escape Clinton Gore. This has been a theme all the way through this thing. George Bush, though, is not running against Bill Clinton. He's running against Al Gore. And the American people, through all of this, it showed, even through impeachment, showed that 2/3 of the people, by polling in this country, were in favor of the policies, the Clinton policies, that Al Gore was part of and helped put into effect. I think they should have been running on the things that got them there to begin with. There were things in the Clinton presidency, obviously, that the president and everybody in this country are sorry ever happened. But as far as trying to tie it up and make it a Clinton-Gore thing, which has been an objective of the Bush campaign all the way through, that doesn't sell. I think the American people are interested in the economy and interested in this tax cut thing, whether it goes way too far or not, which I happen to believe it does, and things like that are issues that are important for the country. So I disagree that it's just a repulsion against Clinton Gore.
Alan Simpson said it's not issues,
Well,
it's zeal.
I think, first of all, I was in New Jersey today, and I remember as a kid, I told them up in New Jersey, I remember my parents had a little White House under the Christmas tree. And people have that White House in various places of their house at times of the year, and it stands as a symbol of something that we teach our kids. You can get there, and you have to be a certain kind of a person to be there. And we went through this whole business of impeachment, and we heard from a lot of people that had strong feelings. But there are an awful lot of Republicans and some independents who really want to have a clean sweep. And when they look at Gore and the fundraising scandals and those kinds of things, there's such intensity. I haven't seen intensity among Republicans like this since I was with Reagan around the country in his heyday. And the other thing is, I think the unions have been somewhat depressed. I think that Al Gore's actions on free trade agreements,
which you agree with.
Yes, which I agree with. I give them credit for that. I think has undercut them, as witnessed by Nader's strength. And finally this. I think the debates were key. I think George Bush not only proved he was likable, but also could be a great commander-in-chief. And I think Al Gore is going to look back and say, why didn't I do better in these debates? And he didn't come across as likable, even though he comes across at times as being pretty competent.
Governor Cuomo, by the way, what do you make of that analysis? Is it a lot zeal? Are the Republicans more energized than the Democrats, excluding New York?
I guess the most powerful emotion is hate. And there's no question how the Republicans feel about anything associated with Bill Clinton. I can understand their feeling. He beat them twice. He outthought them in the legislature. He got so much done out of the Republicans that Republicans were criticized by their own party for giving in to Clinton. They spent over $50 million trying to nail him or Hillary or Al or somebody. They failed everywhere. He got caught with Monica Lewinsky, he got caught lying, and he's at 63 in the polls despite the Republicans. Of course they hate him. Of course they're salivating to get rid of him. But the loser here, if Bush wins, in my opinion, very objectively, will be the United States of America. Because the first thing that'll happen is you'll have an all-Republican government for the first time since Eisenhower. And it'll be much worse than the Republicans of the Eisenhower era because they're conservatives. And Trent Lott and Dennis Hastert are not going to let Mr. Bush be a compassionate conservative. They are what they are, very conservative. They'll bring back the Gingrich agenda, which Clinton vetoed. They'll pass a $1.3 trillion tax cut, against a phony surplus because there is no $4.6 trillion, and Kasich knows it.
Come on, Larry.
Here we go.
Do that. I want Adam.
The
You know that.
Kasich-Cuomo battle, but let me bring in...
You want me to take it all back?
Governor Ventura, I just want to clear up something. Did you say Nader would get 10% in Minnesota?
Well, he's already polling in the high single digits right now, Larry, which means that you're not counting all those people out there on the college campuses. They're not counting the disaffected voters, which are roughly 50% in every general election. The same thing happened during my election. They had me polling 27%. I ended up getting 37%. The Secretary of State said there'd be a 50% voter turnout. It turned out to be a 60% voter turnout, the exact 10% that came and voted for Jesse Ventura.
Wouldn't that automatically mean that Bush would win Minnesota if Nader gets 10%?
No, not really, because Senator Rod Grams right now, the Republican incumbent, is trailing by about 10 points to Mark Dayton, the Democratic challenger. So it's very strong Democrat in that Senate race. Dayton's had a substantial polling lead the entire election, and Grams hasn't taken it down at all. And I find it very difficult to believe that people that are going to vote for Mark Dayton are then going to turn around and flip-flop and vote for George Bush, although stranger things have happened. Let me add this, though, Larry. I think both of them should thank their lucky stars that John McCain didn't break away from the Republican Party and run as an independent, or that Jesse Ventura didn't run as an independent, because had either McCain or myself run as an independent, you'd have a big-time three-way race we'd all be talking about right now.
We'll be right back with the humble Mr. Ventura and the rest of the panel on this edition of Larry King Live. We'll be including your phone calls. Don't go away.
It's always important to consolidate the base, as they say. It's always important to have a place from which to run. I, of course, come from Texas, and I plan on carrying my home state. My opponent vows to carry his home state, but he may win Washington, D.C., but he's not going to win Tennessee.
Yeah, so, okay, you have to help me pick. So, should we go to this, like, funky, kind of pricey kind of place? Like, I don't care.
Should doctors have to get permission to treat you?
Because what if I pick? Yeah.
Dr. Jones, the insurance company will see you now.
With United Healthcare, they don't.
Except it's white. Yeah, it looks like...
Because with United Healthcare, when it comes to treatment, your doctor makes the decision.
Hold on a second.
You're a tiger, big hungry tiger.
Should have breakfast. It's an option with business options, only at Intercontinental and Crown Plaza Hotels.
Small business owners. Lots of people want lots of information some of the time, but not everyone. Some just want general news about yesterday. A few need business news about today. But energy professionals need energy news now, in real time. Introducing Williams, EnergyNewsLive.com, the only real-time energy news network. It's not news for everyone, just everyone in energy.
No two eyes see the same world. No two businesses are identical. And now, one company creates internet solutions unique to you.
Fujitsu. The possibilities are infinite.
I'm governor of our nation's second largest state, which is bigger than every other state, except one. Also, my father was president. Well, now, when they asked me to help introduce tonight's special, I felt, frankly, ambivalent. Although I'm a big fan, I have seen some things on the show I thought were, in a word, offensible.
Well, you know, I was one of the very first to be offended by material on Saturday Night Live. And I'm glad to see the governor has joined with me in condemning it.
John Kasich, has this helped, this humor, and the fact that both candidates would do this
Yeah, I think it does, Larry, because
Humanizes both.
Oh, people want to feel as though the person who's going to be elected president is somebody that they like, that they understand, who is in touch with what's going on in the country, and that's Saturday Night Live is pop culture. And
by the way, in case you are comatose or dead, that was on Saturday Night Live last night. What do you think? You're a humor man.
Well, humor is the universal solvent against the abrasive elements of life. That's what my mama taught me. But humor is very important in a campaign, and Al Gore is short on humor.
But he's funny off the camera.
Yeah, but nobody sees that. There's something, it's either a staff rigidity or something where they tell him not to do it.
As they did with Dole.
Yeah, and which was taking away part of his personality. Bob Dole is a man of rare good humor. But back to what Mario's saying, he uses the word hate. I think that's very unfortunate. That's why Gore is going to lose. He said in the Memphis church day before yesterday that this is Gore saying it's a race between good and evil. Then he said,
you don't think there are people who hate Bill Clinton?
Well, sure there are, but it's not. I don't hate Bill Clinton. Well, sure, there are people who hate Starr. How about the people who hate Starr?
Also wacko.
Bring that one up.
Well,
how about the people who hate Clarence Thomas and who hate Anita Hill? Why do you want to waste time with those kind of people? Why breed that kind of stuff?
But are they effective, Jesse Ventura? Does hate play a part?
Well, I think that, you know, it's kind of ironic to hear Democrats and Republicans talk about anti-hate when you take a look at some of their negative ads that I've had the unfortunate good fortune, whatever you want to call it, of watching through their soft money ads. I don't think any of them got any business talking about love, hate, or any of that when you look at these despicable ads that have been put out by the two parties. I have nothing against the two candidates, but I don't like the two parties, the Republicans and Democrats. After all, in a nonpartisan election, they teamed up and called me the most dangerous man in the city. And
Senator
they didn't
Glenn,
even know me.
Senator Glenn, do you think that Cuomo's right, that hate plays a part in this? That the energizing of the Republicans is due to a hatred of Clinton?
Well, hate may be a strong word, and I don't know, but Alan bring in this good and evil. I heard Al describe what he was talking about. He was talking about good and evil in every single person. I don't think he was describing this as a good party and an evil party. No one describes the other party that way, I don't think. And let me respond, too, to John's comments a minute ago about fundraising scandals. There have been plenty of that on both sides of the aisle. I can give you chapter and verse out of the hearings we had for almost a year in the Senate on things that went wrong on Republican fundraising as well as things that were wrong on Democratic. It just points up the need for campaign finance reform, and I'm glad Al Gore has said he's going to make that the #1 issue.
That's right, he said number one.
That could restore more faith in government than any other single thing we could do.
Isn't that something, Mario, Governor Cuomo, that everyone talks about and no one does?
Exactly.
Campaign finance reform. I think one of the issues here that we ought to talk about is, isn't it likely that if George Bush wins, Trent Lott and Dennis Hastert will also win, and that will be the end of any chance for campaign finance reform because they're all three on the record against it.
Right,
and
now,
wouldn't it also? Isn't that a fact? And wouldn't it also mean that Roe against Wade goes by the board?
Hold on, Roe versus Wade. Isn't that true?
Mario and I have done some of this before. If you just want to trot up, names like that, you can do that all day long.
Well, would Hastert and Trent Lott stop campaign finance?
Let me tell you, they're all going to do something with campaign finance reform because they're all getting burned this trip. Everybody's getting fried, and they're going to. They're going to. Yes, he is. Of course, he said.
Well, he said he was
first of all.
Well, Gore said he did the McCain bill, and he wasn't even in the Senate with
I'm going to take a whole different. I don't
know.
know. I want to sit down sometime and talk to Jesse about this. But no, George Bush has said he'd be for campaign finance reform, but not putting the hands of business behind their backs while labor can do whatever they want to do. But frankly, I think the best campaign finance reform we can have in this country is to have instant disclosure and open up the system. Let people give what they want to give. My biggest problem in running for president is I hadn't sucked up enough around this town. I didn't have a Rolodex. I could have found a couple hundred people to given me the money to be able to go out and have my message. I think we ought to have a great debate on campaign finance reform, and if you want the mailman's son to be able to run and get to be president, this system ought to be opened up, instant disclosure. Let me capture whose ever imagination I can. Let me get their money. I'll tell you who I got it from, and let the voter be the judge.
That's your idea, and there are 500 other ones.
That's right. But George Bush is for campaign finance reform, but his form of it, not the Democrat, not Mario Cuomo's form.
Let me get a break and we'll get Jeff. Let me get a break. We'll be right back. We'll be right back with. We'll be right back with more. Don't go away.
Governor Bush would propose under his plan to spend more money on tax cuts to the top 1% than all of his new proposals for education, health care, and national defense combined. Now, those priorities are wrong for America, but you have the decision. Right here in the Show Me state, you have the ability to show him what you want in the way of America's future.
Right now, there are hundreds of satellites up there orbiting the Earth. They're performing functions that are now knitted into the fabric of our everyday lives. The applications range from the practical to the profound, from looking at weather patterns over the Earth to the birthplace of stars in the universe. Satellites give our military the ultimate high ground. They carry phone calls, internet data, maybe the program you're watching right now. Bringing these technologies together for our customers is the essence of what we do.
First meeting?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, are you trading online yet?
I'm looking into it.
You know, you should try My Discount Broker.
Who is it?
My Discount Broker.
Hey, Sarah.
You can apply online.
Really?
Yeah, and fund your account with an electronic check.
Could I use a regular check?
Sure, or you could just wire the money.
Great. So, who is your broker?
My Discount Broker. Excuse me.
A name. I need a name. MyDiscountBroker.com.
It's timeless, like her beauty. Ageless, like her smile. And like your love, everlasting. Is there any other way to show your love was meant to last a lifetime?
Well, you could tell her. Then with the same 13 grand, she could have over $60,000 for her retirement. We just thought you should know. Ask a financial advisor about Sun America, the retirement specialist.
Governor Ventura, your thoughts on campaign finance?
Well, first of all, Larry, I'm glad I can get in a word because I want to say that you don't have a problem with campaign finance reform from us third-party candidates. Why? Because we put it upon ourselves that we won't accept PAC money, we won't accept special interest money. Therefore, we can't compete on the level of the two parties. It's their carotid arteries. I can't wait to see them come forward with campaign finance reform. I'll be the first to admit I'm wrong. It's not going to happen because I'll tell you why. If there's campaign finance reform, they will then be on equal terms with third-party candidates, and these two parties are not going to allow the rise of a third party, which is what would happen if there was campaign finance reform.
Clinton and Gingrich shook hands, Alan Simpson, and nothing happened.
Yep.
Everyone says they're for it. Everyone on this panel, you former senators, current congressmen, everyone's for it. No one passes it. Why?
Bill Bradley and I were co-chairman of Project Independence to do something with campaign finance reform. And the reason it doesn't pass is because the, quote, grassroots, which are sometimes AstroTurf grassroots, come out and say, there's the end of the First Amendment. There's
you don't
the
believe
end.
that, though.
I don't believe that at all, not one whit. And it's a marvelous argument, goes right to the gut. You use emotion when fact won't work. Go to the, say, the First Amendment will be destroyed if we do campaign finance reform. I don't agree with that one whit. The First Amendment has been distorted by the case that allowed a guy to blow every penny in his Fort Knox and run for office while some guy can't match it.
Why does it never pass?
It's self-interest, what John mentioned a little while ago here. Well, basically, all the Democrats in the Senate were for it, and all the Republicans were against it because the Republicans. Yeah, McCain-Feingold, which is McCain-Feingold is just a start. To what
so why does it never pass?
Well, because we couldn't convince enough Republicans to come over and get for it.
I voted for it from the beginning.
But you were one of the few people on your side, you know.
How come us third-party candidates don't have a problem with it?
Voted for
it. Third party doesn't have a problem with it. Does Jesse have a point?
Well,
Mario, doesn't Jesse
Larry,
have a point?
I will tell you this.
Mario.
I happen to have a different view of how we should do campaign finance reform, as I've expressed. I think part of the reason it doesn't pass is because I think Jesse's onto something. That both parties have a vested interest in the status quo, and I'll say this. There isn't any question in America that populism is on the rise, as reflected by Jesse Ventura, as reflected by John McCain, as reflected by Ralph Nader. And so the two major parties are going to have to be able to more directly hit people at the nerve center in order to get them more involved, more interested.
Let me get a break. We'll get Mario's thought. We'll come to Mario. We'll get a break. We'll come right back. We'll include your phone calls. We'll talk about the Senate and the House. We'll reintroduce our outstanding panel. Don't go away.
It's going to be a tough race because he's a tough opponent. He's a man of a lot of confidence. After all, he claimed he invented the internet. But if he's so smart, how come every internet address begins with W? Not one W, but 3 W's.
Tonight on a special edition of CNN Newsstand, join Jeff Greenfield on the eve of the tightest presidential race in decades for his scorecard on the candidates. Tonight, 10 Eastern.
AT&T Cable.
Shopping.
You're the
Grinch.
Get fun clothing and collectibles inspired by the new movie Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Watch QVC opening day Friday, November 17th, live from Universal Studios.
Shop QVC on AT&T Cable.
The programs that receive lottery funding reflect the things that are important to Oregonians, like caring for our state parks. Oregonians value our mountains, coast, and forests. And they've directed lottery dollars to support the parks that protect Oregon's beauty for everyone to enjoy. Lottery dollars go where they're needed, when they're needed, helping to keep Oregon feeling like Oregon. Lottery games are based on chance and should be played for entertainment only.
The Moneyline News Hour, weeknight 6:30 Eastern on CNN.
Let's reintroduce our panel of disparate Americans. They are in St. Paul, Minnesota, Governor Jesse Ventura of the Independence Party of Minnesota. He's the author of Do I Stand Alone? Going to the Mat Against Political Pawns and Media Jackals. In Washington, Congressman John Kasich, Republican of Ohio. He leaves Congress after 9 terms, chairman of the House Budget Committee. In New York, the 3-time governor of the state of New York, the former Democratic Governor Mario Cuomo. In Washington, the former United States Senator from Wyoming, Alan Simpson. And in Washington, the former Democratic Senator from Ohio, John Glenn, who twice made trips into space. We're going to go to calls in a couple of minutes, but Mario, you'll get another word here on campaign. It never passes.
Well, just to make the point, which I made in the beginning, I said you're going to have an all-Republican government if Bush wins.
Why? Why can't the Democrats take the House and Bush win?
Well, because that's just not likely. If Bush has enough votes to win at the top, he's going to keep the Senate and the House the way it is. And I'm sure Republicans are proud of that and would like that. But I wish America would remember that as soon as you get an all-conservative government with no real voice against it in the Congress, you will not ever pass McCain-Feingold, although John McCain is a Republican. They're simply against it, and you've heard that said here this evening. Kasich has said it. They've all said it. John Glenn's absolutely correct. It's the end of any chance for even McCain-Feingold, the end of Roe against Wade, the end of affirmative action, and you're going to have a new look. It's a big argument what the Supreme Court will look like. But if it's all Nino Scalia and Clarence Thomas, this will be a different America, a very different America. And the voters should be aware of that.
I know, okay.
We might cut his taxes.
Tampa, Florida, hello.
Yes, Larry. Thank you for taking my call. My question for the panel is, what will it take for a third-party candidate to break the hold that the Republicans and Democrats have had on the political process in electing a president for the United States of America?
Jesse Ventura, that question aptly applies to you. When will a third-party candidate, let's say, reintroduce 92 when Perot for a long time was leading?
Yeah, and you saw what happened. He got 1/5 of the vote in the end. He got almost 20%, 1 out of every 5 votes, and yet in 96, he wasn't allowed to debate because the Republicans and Democrats get to determine who gets to debate and who doesn't. What will it take? It'll take campaign finance reform to put it on an equal level, which is never going to happen as long as the Democrats and Republicans are there. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk.
Why is the two-party system sacrosanct, Alan? Why is it the best? How do we know it's the best?
It's a sick idea, but it works.
Well, why can't a 3-party work?
I don't think it can. It never has. Look at other countries of the earth.
It's never been given a chance to work. You give us one more choice than Russia. One more choice.
Wait, just a second. You want to go to what other countries do in the world where they have to go bargain themselves away to take care of little jerky factions all over the United States or all over
I want a
Israel or
centrist.
France
I
or
want a
Italy?
Hey,
Boulder Dash.
I want a centrist movement that represents me. I'm fiscally conservative and I'm socially liberal, which is what most Americans are, in the center. They're not out on the far left. They're not on the far right, but yet we're made to choose. As Jerry Garcia said, when you pick the less of two evils, you still end up with evil, don't you?
You're there because
Larry,
you're
let
a
me
popular
say,
guy.
Before we got into campaign finance reform and all these issues, early on in the history of our country, we didn't have a problem with campaign money. This has been a country that's had a history of two parties. Thank God there have been progressive movements in the country, because the progressive movements have forced the major parties to address issues that have never been addressed.
Question was, when will there be a serious third-party challenge to make? Why can't there be three parties?
Well, there can be. The problem has been throughout our history, people have signed up, they've gravitated towards two parties,
Because
their parents have been
the
there.
system.
Well, but Larry, there wasn't controlling the system back in the early days in the 18th century.
Well, let's talk about the year 2000. The heck with the 18th century.
Take Teddy Roosevelt. Well, what I'm saying is that it's not always been fixed against them. We've had a history of this.
Your party and the other party didn't let Nader debate, right? It was your parties that controlled the commission that didn't let him debate. Why couldn't he debate?
Both parties controlled the commission as far as that goes.
That's right, and they don't want a third party.
I think that there was a certain threshold, a percentage of support, and that they didn't meet that percentage.
But they decided the percentage.
And yet it's only 5% to have major party status, but it's 15% to debate. Had that criteria been used in Minnesota, I would have never won governor because I was only polling 10%. Rest assured, they don't want another Jesse Ventura out there.
Okay.
Mario,
you asked
John, yeah.
Well, you asked a question about when we thought there'd be a viable third party. I think when there's some issue that people really are concerned about for the country.
Cause.
I think a populist cause of whatever it is, whether it's the campaign finance reform.
McCain would have been a strong
third-party candidate, I think. That's a big issue here. I think this tax issue, something like that, if that went through and put us back into a deficit again, I think something like that might be give rise to a third party. Third parties don't just rise up because somebody says, hey, I think we ought to have a third party.
No, Perot rose off deficits and budget, right?
And so you have to have a basis of what the third party is all about before you go for a third party.
Mario, does it take...
I can give you the basis. It's called centrist.
Well,
Mario, does it take...
pretty much Bill Clinton's policy,
Does it take a Quixote, Mario, to have a third party, or don't you think there should be a strong third party?
I think America is very hungry for some alternative to our two parties. I don't think there's any question of that. Ross Perot was at 33%. He blew it after that, but he was at 33%. That's something. Anderson ran an interesting race. The people don't show up for the Democrats and the Republicans. 96 was appalling in the turnout. The turnout tomorrow will be better than 96 probably, but won't be good. There's no question that look, George Bush ran in Texas as a Republican conservative, but he felt obliged to change the name when he ran nationally to Compassionate Conservative. Al Gore's not a Democrat, he's a new Democrat. What does that suggest to you? That the old names don't work for them. They had to mitigate them, they had to qualify them.
Yeah.
And so there's no question that this country would like a third. Now listen, wasn't Lincoln a third-party candidate? Wasn't Teddy Roosevelt a third-party candidate? You know, there's nonsense that it's historically it's worked well. It is not working well. It does not meet the needs of the American people. That's why they don't show up to vote.
Well, they haven't won as third party. And one final thing, Nader should have been in the debates, and it was wrong to have kept him out.
We'll be right back with more calls for our panel right after this.
Want to start a family?
Right now?
I just got supplemental insurance.
What's that?
Aflac. Well, if we get sick, our health insurance won't cover things like lost pay or other expenses. This does.
What's it called?
I don't know.
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Since our beginning, America has opened our arms to everyone. We are accessible and friendly like no other nation. Yet each year, we fold our arms across our chest and reject over 1 million little lives that haven't had the chance to be born yet. Will we continue to be the land of life and liberty, or will we go further down our current path where life is devalued and violence plagues our land? You must decide. Love requires that we give life a chance.
As you can see, the terms are good, the rate is low, there are no points.
But...
Yes?
Can't you come down a little on the interest?
It's a very good offer.
Okay, then.
Great.
Thanks anyway. Next!
Want banks to compete over you? Come to LendingTree.com. Fill out one form and get up to 4 offers within hours. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com.
Only Puerto Rico sounds like this. Only Puerto Rico puts it all within your reach.
All last-minute polls are close, anywhere from 2 to 3%. Only one poll, Zogby, has Gore ahead. To Dallas, hello. Dallas, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. Yes, I wondered what difference would it have made if Clinton had been allowed to campaign?
Ah, okay. What would it have meant? Let's ask Simpson. If Clinton would have
It
toured
would
the country.
have hurt. It would have hurt
you?
It would have hurt Al Gore.
Hurt Al Gore.
It would have. It really would.
I don't agree with that at all. 2/3 of the American people have consistently, even through impeachment, favored Al Gore's policies. Clinton's policies. And I saw nothing wrong with Al Gore, who was party to that, was the most active vice president we ever had in the history of this country. He was part of putting that whole thing together, taking credit for some of that. Instead, I think he stayed too far away from it, quite frankly.
Clinton has over 60% approval on policy, under 40 personally.
But
My view is that I think they made a big mistake by not letting Bill Clinton go out on the road. Oh, I think it was a two-edged sword, but I think he would have energized a lot of people who right now are not energized. And some Democrats are probably not very happy that Al Gore didn't put him out on the road.
Governor Cuomo, what do you think?
You know, I never ran a presidential race, obviously, and I'm sure they have the best consultants and the best pollsters in the world, and I'm sure they consulted the pollsters, and the pollsters said, look, it'll hurt at this point. But I think the reason it hurts at this point is because of the way that you made the first judgment to separate yourself from Clinton and to say, I'm going to win this thing on my own, and to start the campaign by saying, forget about the record, it's only the future that counts, and I'm going to escape the surrogacy syndrome. So having taken that position, if they had brought Clinton in at the end, it would have looked like a contradiction of their original position. They would have looked bad. So I think it's the first judgment.
Yeah.
Well, wrong, you know, it's easy for me to say wrong, for any of us to say wrong. I think it was not a wise judgment as you look back. I can understand why they made it in the first place, but I didn't like it in the first place. I thought you could separate yourself from Clinton's bad aspects, if you want to call them that, and still take credit for the record. They saw it differently.
Jesse?
Well, my view is like this, Larry. I think the Democrats made a mistake in allowing the Republicans to set the agenda out of their convention of tying Clinton in. But I will say this, if the Constitution would let Bill Clinton run again, he'd be the president again, and I believe that strongly.
John Glenn is shaking his head. You think he might have won? Alan Simpson says
no,
yes.
I think that could well have been. I mean, there would have been so many other dynamics, but this...
a lot of it has to do with personality.
Yeah,
right?
and the debate between George Bush and Bill Clinton, but then you raise the specter again, and there's stuff down under there.
Monica's in the race.
But then again, how could they have let 3 people into the debate? So that would have been the dilemma you'd have faced.
You know,
Good point. The governor's pretty sharp. John, what do you think Clinton would have run it?
My question is whether Bill Clinton's going to run for governor in New York. Think about that one for a while.
Aha! Toronto, hello. Toronto, hello. Toronto, goodbye. We'll be right back with more. Don't go away.
Does everybody know what this is? A heart. It's called the silent killer. 50 million Americans alone suffer from high blood pressure. There are no symptoms. Yet high blood pressure is the primary cause of heart disease, the #1 killer of men and women in the United States. 19 years ago, the first ACE inhibitors were discovered at my pharmaceutical company, and these drugs have found tremendous potential in the treatment of high blood pressure. But there are still millions who are unable to lower their blood pressure with medication. Their elevated pressure is a time bomb waiting to go off. That's why we're developing this new medicine, and it has excellent effectiveness in treating blood pressure. Maybe by the time these kids are my age, we'll have found a way to prevent high blood pressure in everyone.
First meeting?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, are you trading online yet?
I'm looking into it.
You know, you should try My Discount Broker.
Who is it?
My Discount Broker.
Hey, Sarah.
You can apply online.
Really?
Yeah, and fund your account with an electronic check.
Could I use a regular check?
Sure, or you could just wire the money.
Great. So who is your broker?
My Discount Broker. Excuse me.
A name. I need a name. MyDiscountBroker.com.
Do you think you're making a difference? We do. Since you started being a designated driver, or calling a cab for a friend, or serving responsibly, drunk driving fatalities are down 41%. To all who are making a difference, thank you.
It's a better place to live. It's a better place to live. Thanks to you.
Don't forget CNN starting at 5 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. Around the clock we go till all of this is in. We'll be with you at various points through the evening with special interviews in all of the hours. And then we'll be with you at midnight Eastern with a full kind of Larry King Live wrap-up session. Decatur, Georgia, hello.
Yes, I'd like to know if the panel believes this is going to be another Dewey-Truman election.
Meaning an upset? Well, Dewey was considered way ahead in that election, so that no one would be shocked if Gore won this election, right? It's too close. Kasich would be
I'd be
shocked.
kind of surprised. I really would. Because of the intensity of what I think what's going to happen is you have about 4 or 5 battleground states, and if Bush can break through in Florida, for example.
Why does he have to break through?
I mean, I think right now, frankly, he's ahead. I mean, if he can pull ahead and win Florida, and so much of the map that is undecided right now is on the Democratic turf.
Gore needs a miracle of Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida, and Missouri, or
sure.
Do you agree with that, Mario? That Gore needs a kind of a miracle in the states that are close, and that he has to win
you're
4 of the 5.
Well, everybody's assuming all the polls are accurate, and
yeah, that's all we got to go on.
Well, no, but it's not enough, because as Governor Ventura points out, they're often very wrong. And the difference between the polls and tomorrow is tomorrow people are picking a president. All the rest of this time they were playing games and speculating. Now they're picking a president. Incidentally, the person who I think we should have used more in the Democratic campaign, and there's still time. There are 2 people we should have used over and over: Ronald Reagan and George Bush. Ronald Reagan, who said, look, the best test here is, were you better off then than you are now? The answer to that would have been, no, we're better off now. And the other one, but that's good. I'm glad he's using it. And the other one was President Bush, who said, if you're going to change horses midstream, make sure you get one going in the same direction. Those 2 instructions are all America needs to vote for Al Gore tomorrow.
Do you need, Senator Glenn, does your side need tomorrow a kind of a sweep of the battleground states, or close to it?
Oh, well, I have to take several of those, sure, but I wouldn't say you just have to take every single one of them. Some of the smaller states, Alan, I don't think it's likely to go Democratic, but you've got some smaller states that might combine to equal one, so I don't think he has to take all of those, no. But I think he has to do very well in those, obviously.
To Las Vegas, hello.
Yes, Governor Cuomo. Bill Clinton signed 80% of the Republican contract into law and then claimed credit for the ideas as his own. When are you going to quit running against Newt Gingrich? He's been gone for 2 years.
Well, I'm not running against Newt Gingrich, and I don't think anybody else is, but you're wrong about 80% of the contract. He signed some procedural things that were very good, and I applauded him on it. Excuse me, John. You guys passed with Gingrich a whole agenda of bills in 1995, including taking, what, $200 billion and more out of Medicare.
Now, come on,
I'm afraid, just a minute, let me finish, okay? Those were vetoed, those bills. You know what's going to happen if Bush wins, and you have Trent Lott and Dennis Hastert. Those bills will pass again unless Trent Lott and Dennis Hastert are somehow, converted to a new enlightenment. And those bills are going to be devastating to Medicare and to the United States of America unless Bush mesmerizes Trent Lott and Dennis Hastert into being compassionate.
John, are you saying that...
Now, Larry, the contract with America, let me tell you what was in it. Line item veto, signed into law. People liked it. Balance in the budget, signed into law ultimately. It took a long time. Welfare reform, Clinton vetoed it twice, signed it the third time. It was a charm. Tax cuts, we passed them, he signed them. I mean, the fact is the contract with America was a great success, and I'm going to have to send Mario a copy of that contract. He'll want to sign up to it.
Newt's gone.
Well, let's...
Well, Clinton is a masterful politician, no question, but you know what? We've moved the agenda to the right. And frankly, when Al Gore is arguing in America that he favors smaller government than George Bush, you tell me what's happened to the Democratic Party. That's mind-boggling.
I got to get hold on, Senator Glenn,
We got the smallest civil service now we've had since Harry Truman, I think it is, and that's because Al Gore's reinventing government program that I worked with him on when I was chairman of the Governmental Affairs Committee. I know what he
John,
did
they're
there.
all out of the Pentagon.
No,
and
they're not. They're 120,000.
No, they're out of the Pentagon. That's where all the
320,000 less,
suits
and
are.
120,000 less. And
You got
those are
5
figures.
agencies and departments in the federal government that can't have their books audited, and you tell me he's reinvented government?
I got to get straight. What you've just seen is why Ohio is a great state. We'll be right back with our remaining moments. Some final thoughts from each of our guests after this.
No two eyes see the same world. No two businesses are identical. And now, one company creates internet solutions unique to you.
Fujitsu. The possibilities are infinite.
Got yourself into too much credit card debt? Why not point and click your way out of debt with a second mortgage from Ditech.com? Whether you have equity or no equity, good credit or not so good credit, Ditech has a second mortgage with absolutely no closing cost to help you lower your monthly payments now. So point and click your way out of high-interest, non-tax deductible credit card debt at Ditech.com or call us at 1-800-71-FIXED.
The great thing about outboard motors is how they save fuel, take up practically no space, and turn effortlessly. Imagine what would happen if we put them on a 142,000-ton ship. We did. We build knowledge. ABB. Brain power.
Jeff Greenfield will have a special edition of CNN Newsstand coming up at the top of the hour as CNN continues its round-the-clock look at election 2000. Have about 4.5 minutes left. The time for a final comment from each. We'll start with John Glenn. What's going to happen?
Let me just say, well, I don't know what's going to happen any more than anybody else, but let me say the importance of people participating. We'll elect the next president with only about 23-24% of the vote of the people of this country. If we walk down the street here to the Archives building, we went in and walked in there and looked at the Constitution. There it is, the greatest document in governance ever put forward in human history. There it is, with the real words right there. And what politics is all about is not the fussing back and forth like we do here tonight and calling each other all sorts of things and hating this thing, all sorts of things going on. And in the campaign, too much of the negative ads and negative everything. Politics, to me, is the personnel department for that Constitution. And if our people let fewer and fewer people decide what direction this country is going to go, we're trending back toward King George. We're trending back toward an oligarchy that this country should never have. Everybody should get out there and participate. A democracy depends on that, absolutely depends on it. And we have to have that. Politics is an honorable profession in spite of all the bad things we see about it. There are bad things in every profession, broadcasting, whatever. But never. But the thing is, politics is the personnel department for the Constitution, and people better support it.
Best definition of politics I give my students. In politics, there are no right answers, only a continuing flow of compromises among groups, resulting in a changing, cloudy, and ambiguous series of public decisions where appetite and ambition compete openly with knowledge and wisdom. That's all it is. But the real thing about this campaign is that I'm surprised at the Gore campaign because if you look at it, it's just been a continual pattern and issuing of what will happen to the country if George Bush gets elected. All of it foul, bad, horrible, come on. That's where they're going to go down. They have made it a campaign of being opposed to anything George Bush, and if George Bush gets elected, we'll be filled with hate, racism, back alley, boy, good Lord. I mean, what kind of a campaign is that?
John?
Well, you know, it's going to be election day. Everybody is you know, the partisans in both camps. They're out in the streets. I've seen some pretty good-sized crowds. It's always exciting the day we pick a president, Larry. This is the first time I will not be on the ballot in 22 years.
Yeah, what's that like?
And it's been fine. It's been
You're
great.
handling it
But, you know,
emotionally okay?
Oh, you know, I don't look backwards. I'm always looking. But I want to say this. You know, my dad carried mail on his back. And I got to grow up and fight and get somewhere and make a difference, particularly with balancing the budget. And my message to people, to all the kids and the adults out there, you can get wherever you want to get in this country. Just got to plug at it and work at it, and it's a pretty darn good system.
Governor Cuomo, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I agree with all the lovely sentiments about everybody should vote. Absolutely right. But just really one last attempt at the facts. The Republicans were in charge for 20 of 24 years before Clinton and Gore were elected. They left us the largest debt in our history, deficits as far as the eye could see, very low employment, a terrible economy, and Al Gore and Bill Clinton made it the best economy in world history. I think you ought to remember that when you vote tomorrow.
And Governor Ventura, your wrap-up on the occasion as the only elected official, after Kasich leaves, you're the only elected official on the panel. You have clout.
Well, I'll tell you what, I hope this scenario happens. I hope that one of them wins the popular vote and the other one wins the Electoral College.
Why?
So that once and for all, we can determine how we should elect a president. I don't know, maybe some of them, like Senator Simpson, probably think the Electoral College is still good when we rode horseback. But I'll tell you what, I think it should be a popular vote. It should be a popular vote. Let's get rid of the Electoral College. That's why I hope the two of them split it, because, boy, will you see whining and crying then.
Thank you all very much. Governor Jesse Ventura, Congressman John Kasich, Governor Mario Cuomo, Senator Alan Simpson, and Senator John Glenn, a true American hero. Stay tuned for Jeff Greenfield and a special edition of CNN Newsstand. We'll see you throughout the night tomorrow night. We'll be interspersed in all of the hours of our coverage with special interviews. And then right after midnight, we'll have a full edition, hopefully, of Larry King Live. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll be there watching it all for you on CNN. Thanks for joining us. For all of our panel, good night.
Tuesday, celebrity guests talk politics, issues, and the candidates on Showbiz Today, an Election Day special. Tuesday, 4:30 Eastern on CNN.
Suddenly, I'm looking at investing in a whole new light.
At Bidwell & Company, we never forget how important it is for you to reach your financial goals. Open your own account today at bidwell.com. Bidwell & Company, as serious about your money as you are.
In each of us, there is a dancer. A poet. A photographer.